Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Sir, of the 2020 Podcast LLC. Please sell the LLC. We're back here with another episode of Squad Goals, and we're going to be honest with you. Given the current events and the enlightenment of the situation involving Breonna Taylor, we decided to go a different route this episode, and we're just going to talk about it, period. So, that being said, what happened was a travesty. And quite frankly, seeing the situation robbed of justice is disgusting. But before we get into all that and the specifics of what occurred, I just want to check the mental space of the women in Squad Goals, because we've been having this recurring conversation of Black women not feeling safe and not feeling protected. And I literally want to check on the mental space of the ladies, here. So, Lauren, I'm gonna lead with you. Where are you at, love?
Hey guys. So I actually don't kind of know how to feel. The fact that she was so young and she was doing nothing, literally nothing, sleeping, after definitely like being at the forefront of all this stuff that's happening. Knowing that they not only didn't even try to really fight for it to like be pursued, they just kind of dealt with it. They're just like, oh well, it's just a tragedy, oops. It's almost like a slap in the face. And if it's that something that's that drastic, is that so devastating, if that's is that simple to them, then I feel like they're never going to protect me, even if something bad was to happen. That's more of a tragedy than getting killed while you're sleeping. I feel like, if they're not willing to fight for us while I'm asleep and this was an incident, what are they going to fight for me if something is really bad happened to me? So, yeah, I'm just kind of all over the place with it.
I think for me, it really just hit home just because of her occupation. The fact that she was on the front lines for COVID, but now she's on the headlines, you know what I'm saying? Like, and because it took so long for the word to get out, I was one of those people that happened to have the woke friend on Facebook. So I happened to find out about it the day after it originally happened. But I couldn't find any videos where I could repost it. I only saw it on their story, and I think it was from TikTok or something like that. But the fact that this was somebody that was risking her life already, trying to be that aid for other people that needed her, and to know that, you know what I'm saying, that there was nothing anybody could do to save her. Even, you know what I'm saying, her boyfriend, we were having a discussion about protecting black women. He tried, you know what I'm saying? It's a different dynamic for me with this one. It's bad enough with everything else going on. I've been seeing so many other stories coming to the limelight now, just not even from 2020, 2019, 2018. I'm finding out about stuff from even before, and it's actually sad that it took this to happen to shed light on so many other things that are going on. And furthermore, the fact that, just like everybody else was saying with the judge, the judge deeming it more important to check on the next door neighbors than the family, or seeking justice for the family of the deceased, just shows how much the justice system does for us. It can't be emotional for us, but it can be emotional for everybody else. It's cool for everything to be always by the book when it comes to a darker tint, but when it comes to, or a darker hue, but when it comes to a lighter hue, then it's, oh no, I feel this way about what happened to them, so I'm going to do something about it. It's always somebody in power that can defend them, but we don't have anybody in power to defend us. So it's, to me, the dynamic has changed from just being black men protecting black women. It's just the somebody being there for black people in general. You know what I'm saying? We keep having this divide of the sexes when we talk about so many other issues. But I think this is showing us we have to come together, and there has to be that unity in order for us to fight the bigger villain in this. Big Brother really is watching, and Big Brother don't give a damn about us. And that's what Big Brother just showed us. He don't care if you man, woman, child. He don't care what it is. He don't care your sex. He don't care anything, just as long as your skin is darker than his. I'm gonna stop before I get too far in it, but I'm gonna leave it right there.
Nah, definitely. That's one thing here. I wanted kind of a safe space vibe here. I want you to vent exactly what you're thinking. So, but we're gonna loop back around to you though. Still, I'm gonna give you a chance to kind of decompress a little bit. But I want you guys. Let me make that absolutely clear. I want you guys to express fully what you're thinking and how you're feeling, because I don't want anything left unsaid. You know, because somebody may need to hear it, or you may be a voice for someone that doesn't feel like they have a voice. So you just stated that, you know, we have to overcome this barrier of sex, you know, and competing with each other. I feel like the best way to meet in the middle is to go ahead and communicate everything, just throw all that shit on the table and just say it, you know. So but yeah, we'll definitely loop back to you, Ebony. So because I want to pick your brains on some of the points you made. But why? Coming from a male perspective, seeing how this came to be, how this trickled down over the time and how long it took. What are your thoughts on it?
So most of the time, man, I'm pretty like I'm pretty understanding about a lot of different things, and like I try to make sure I try to see the both sides of the story. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's three sides to every story: his side, her side, and the truth. And this one, like you just can't. There's at some point it's just got to be right and wrong. You know what I mean? And like the one thing that I'm really mad about, like, and I'm pissed about it is because like she's around the same age as my sister, and like those people like certain and it's not like what I mean, they always try to find dirt to throw at somebody, but they couldn't even really find any dirt. They just have to say, oh well, it's unfortunate, you know what I mean? Like nobody's held accountable, and like the system is made so that like police officers are covered. Like I was talking to my homegirl and she was like, if her being a nurse, if she could kill somebody, get 6 months off and paid time off, you know what I mean? Like that's what essentially what they're telling people, that okay, because I'm not secure in my job, and there's still good police officers out there, but I don't feel like good police officers should allow the fuck niggas to really be able to make their bad name for us. Just like there's good men, there's good women, but like you're held to the standard of the least of you. So like the least of you should still have a higher standard than everyone else, because you're given a pass in a certain amount of stuff, and it's just used as kind of like a circle jerk, man. Like, okay, well, this shouldn't have happened. So because this happened, now this happened. And so now, and then they're just like, well, it's, unfortunately, we can't hold anybody accountable. It's just like all right, so people who work in customer service, that's like being transferred everywhere to try to get a problem fixed, but nobody's fixing the problem. They're just transferring you back and forth and saying, oh, well, this person should have done this for you. I'm going to get you back over there so they can be able to get that fixed. So like, it's nothing that's really getting fixed. It's just people just doing what they want to do. And then some of these people aren't even looking to help people. They just looking to really live that fantasy of being in Call of Duty or being in Judge Dredd. And none of this stuff is really helping anybody. Like, if you really like, at first, when they were like defund the police, I was like, well, you can't really just defund the police because you need to have some kind of semblance of law and order. But once I started listening and reading up on how it's demilitarizing the police. being able to make sure that, like, say for instance, you have more money going into these different programs that help support them so that you don't get to that. Because right now we're just trying to fight the symptoms. We're not trying to get the actual cure. So like the government's fucked up people, minorities for the longest time. And then it's a system. Because like if you look at how they deal with jails, how they deal with judges, how they deal with sentencing, all of that, like all that shit, it's put together to keep us down. And like there's people even in power as high, as low as like people, your bosses in front of you, they looking for a reason to get you in trouble. They looking for a reason because they don't understand the strife and the stuff that goes on. So I just get frustrated because it's a lot of shit that we have to deal with, and it shouldn't be that way. I mean, I understand America is better than, say, for instance, China, where they kill people for having more kids than what they're supposed to, but it's still saying that we still got a long way to go before we live up to that hype that we've been talking about.
Straight up, well said too, bro. I along with you, felt the movement behind defunding the police was a little bit too far fetched. But then, like you said, I went and dug into it. The first city to propose it and push it and get it on the ballot coming up was Minneapolis, and they are defunding the police, but they're replacing it with a public safety task force. But the applicants can only police the neighborhoods they are from, which I think is key. I really feel like that connection is the issue here. People feel detached, and yeah, I feel like if we can get back on the level of de-escalation, being able to talk first, we'll be able to resolve a lot of this stuff before it happens, or at least smooth it over and repair some of this stuff, because the lost lives has to stop, because it's now at a point now. I don't know. I think I shared it in the group with you guys, or a few with y'all, where at the Breonna Taylor protest, after the fact, that night, they started shooting at the police. And I'm not saying if I'm for or against it. I'm going to stay completely neutral on that, because I understand how cause and effect works. But I'll say this: I'd much rather us find a peaceful solution rather than get to that point, if that makes sense. But Eternity, I wanted to hear your words, bro. What do you feel like?
So I knew it was gonna be some bullshit the day before when they started calling police officers back from vacation, started canceling vacations for those who had, time set aside. They were taking precautionary measures prior to a verdict. Make that make sense. Because they already knew what the answer was going to be. They already knew what the verdict was going to be. That's why they instituted curfews. That's why they started calling in National Guard. That's why they started calling in task force. As soon as I saw them taking these quote unquote precautionary measures, I was like, oh, we finna hear some bullshit. Secondly, they basically charged the one officer for the bullets that didn't hit her. How are you more concerned with the neighbors, like you said earlier, versus finding justice for this young woman who was on the front lines helping to save lives? You got people who are locked up for much lesser sentences, much lesser misdemeanors. You're giving people 10 years for weed, but this police officer that killed this woman that carries a 5-year maximum sentence. 5 years. Then what? I have a real issue with the amount of time that it took the AG to pursue this. Um, it seems like it was a whole lot of personal interests playing into his decision. Um, I feel like he had a lot of pressure from his wife and in-laws because he is married to a Caucasian woman, if I'm not mistaken. He is a Republican. So his political alignment ties into the very same people who could give a damn about what happened to Breonna Taylor. They got documentaries on Hulu, documentaries probably on Netflix. She has been turned into a meme. But after all of the memes, after all of the pictures, after all of the documentaries, how does that serve any type of justice? How? Like it makes no sense. And I told him, I said, y'all think people were pissed off beforehand? Oh, they really about to show you, bruh. I'm gonna tell. I don't know if you've seen. There's a video circulating on Facebook where as soon as they read the verdict, a U-Haul pulled up with signs because they knew they was about to have to deal with some bullshit, and they immediately, like, protesters had signs on deck in a big U-Haul box truck. They just started unloading. So her boyfriend would catch a more serious charge than the police officer that killed her. And that's ridiculous. That is not a justice system. Granted, the police force itself was established to basically recover slaves that had ran away from the plantation. So if we're being honest, the justice system ain't never really been for us. I'm not saying all police officers are bad. I personally know quite a few of them with good hearts, and I understand the situation. But it's like, why are we still dealing with this in 2020? Like, why is this still such a prevalent part of our society where it has to turn into a conversation of race and police? I had a chance to talk a few times to a few different people about this. So I'm a lot calmer than I was when I first heard the verdict. Oh, then not to mention, Twitter all of a sudden was having issues with people whose accounts were tweeting about it. Like they were trying to override the algorithm to stop Breonna Taylor from trending. When I tell you people were going off yesterday about their accounts for tweets, and they trying to like give you some PC bullshit answer for it, we know what it is. I don't agree with them shooting back at the police. This ain't the Wild West. I mean, but we tired, bro. Period. People are fucking tired. Excuse my language, but people are tired. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes no sense for this to have to be a consistent conversation. It makes no sense for this to have to be a consistent conversation. But people are tired. People are tired, and they showing it. So that's what I gotta say on it.
I hear you, bro. Yesterday on Facebook, my boy Paul, Paul husband, he posted something. He likes to post stuff and joke and have fun, but he posted something really serious. And he said, now that this bullshit has happened, can we finally come together and agree that protesting like our ancestors did and getting slapped in the face is not enough? We got to try something different now. And I'm at a point where I agree with him wholeheartedly. Like, wholeheartedly. This is warfare. 100%. When you're suppressing the rules, when you are operating deliberately behind closed doors to keep yourself above the people or a select group of people, that is racism, bro. And at this point, like Buck, you were saying, I don't agree with it. This is not that. I don't want America to become a big ass shootout. But me and Wyatt have been saying this for the longest, bro. For the longest, America is long overdue a civil war. And I feel like that shit is coming. Like, and the fact that it's still over race is mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. The fact that I just don't get how saying I matter offends someone. I don't get how someone being innocent in a situation where they are murdered justifies going and trying to pick up old information on them. Everybody has dirt on them. Everybody. Whether it be traffic tickets, whether it be petty shit in school, they try to find a way to vilify you. And for what reason? For what reason? So I'm gonna hand this back off to you, Lauren. I want to get your thoughts on that as far as the tactics of belittling the character of people.
So, just like he said, for me, this is very hard to talk about, mainly because I have a rage that's inside of me that I don't like to talk about it because I know for a fact that I cannot control it. Like, I know for a fact that if I was in her city, I would probably be violent. It's not a matter of like control, because controlling my emotions, that's easy. You know, it's a matter of just anger and suppressed frustration, because I feel like we are like completely put by the wayside. The one thing I did see about the Attorney General is when he said this statement that they always make, but he said we can protest, we can do a peaceful protest, but we shouldn't be violent. Okay, so peaceful protest, like you said, isn't working. And you don't want us to be violent, but you want us to be okay that you allowed this to happen, that you didn't truly fight for her. Like, you want us to be okay with this verdict that you came with, but we're not supposed to be violent. So I'm supposed to go up to a cop and be like, oh, thanks for protecting me, but you didn't protect Breonna Taylor. Is that nice enough for you? You know, is that a more, what is it, correct for whatever politically correct for you? Oh, thank you for being on the for protecting me in my neighborhood, but you just shot her dead while she was sleeping, while she working for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how politically correct do we need to be? And as far as us coming together, at some point, we got to stop fighting each other. We got to stop assuming that we got to build each other up. It's almost like we're stepping on each other and they're still breaking our backs and they're not appreciating us. You know, they're not doing anything to show us that we matter. But what are we doing for ourselves? You know, I can be a person that supports you and Wyatt and, you know, and Buck and Ebony, but are you that genuinely person that's going to support me? How many of people like us are we going to support each other? Are we going to fight for each other? Yeah, her boyfriend fought, and yeah, his you said the AG wife, you know, most likely his family probably pressured him into a decision. But at some point, when is he going to have a mind of his own, to have a backbone to fight for his own people, to fight for his own self? You know, so for me, talking about this, it brings tears, it brings rage, it brings, you know, some type of anger that is unexplainable. You know, racism to me in general brings anger to me that's unexplainable, because I don't see, you know, I can't say that I don't see color, but I don't see why people are so cruel, even to their own, you know, our own race. We cruel to each other, you know, and it's almost like, how, at what point are we going to respect each other, expect them to respect us if we're not respecting each other? It seems like the only time we come together is through rage or through I'm fed up. But like you said, it's 2020 and we ain't going for it. I used to tell my mom all the time, like, I knew if I was a slave, I would have been hung, because I ain't going out like that. Oh, I'm going to fight to the very end, tooth and nail. You know, because at the end of the day, like, you don't want to assume that this is going to stop, but we got to keep fighting for it. But what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like, is it a protest that's going to make it happen? Is it this war that you think, you know, that needs to happen? What's going to happen? I mean, the hell is I've seen like the damn world going to hell in heavens. Like, COVID, I mean, they killing us like left and right. I mean, the damn president, God, come on. Like, at what point is this world? It just seems like it's about to end. I'm not even lying to you. It seems like this is on a whole nother level to me, you know. And I don't know. I just feel like if they can't stand up for us, it's something as simple as charging the people who did it, even if it was an accident or something that was wrong. Then how are they going to stand up for us if we have a domestic violence, or if we get in a car accident, or if we got a tire, you know, if they pull us over, you know, on the road, you know, think about Sandra. I mean, it's so many people, so many women that you can name, you know, that's already been through something that's so tragic. So at some point, when are we going to matter? It's not even like Ebony said, it's not even a male or a female. It just want to matter. When are we going to matter? So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like now we kind of come to a point where we're like, we're getting tired of people like it. We still want equality, but there's still people, and there's a larger group that want like vengeance as well. Like they're tired of having all this happen and everything like that. And I think a lot of times, and this is me being straight up, we tried Martin Luther King's way, and like more of us are looking at Malcolm's way now and being like, listen, like y'all ain't gonna do too much more of this shit, like, because this is just to a point where folks don't really like understand until it's in their face. And like you said, like they wanted, like the AG was talking about how, you know, he wanted peaceful things, but nothing like peaceful stuff hasn't really helped. Like the shit didn't get better for us in America until there was like the Boston Tea Party or the Boston Massacre. Like shit didn't, like, it wasn't like, hey, we're not going to do this, and everybody was like, hey, we're going to be diplomatic. No, some shit had to pop off in order for us to be like, listen, this is what we're not going to take no more. And I think, like, to be honest, like I don't even really believe in guns like that, but like I got my carry license because of the fact that, like, have somebody do something to my family, like, because now I really, like, I had an optimistic spirit when it came to what people will do as far as that's concerned, and the system working for us. But have somebody touch my family, have somebody mess with that little boy that across the hall from me, like some shit's gonna pop off. Like, I'm not gonna talk, like, and I understand everybody's not guilty, all the cops aren't bad, and I don't condone it, just saying that, you know, you shouldn't just, but I understand to a certain extent how people are getting tired of being picked on and being belittled, and like they always, and that's the one thing, even with that little white boy that went up there and started shooting like 3 weeks ago, like now they were like, oh well, he was doing great work and he was cleaning up graffiti and stuff like that. It still doesn't equate the fact that he went ahead and shot 2 people or shot 3 people. He killed 2 people, I thought, and maimed another one. So like, and like I kept reading a meme that was talking about how, like, you're not defending your area if you go a state over, and that's called hunting. Like, you're not doing that. And like, they make it all right. Like, but then it'd be a problem if somebody popped him before he got to trial, or if black people were sitting out his house and like, no, bring him out here, because that's the same shit that they would do to us not even 60 years ago. Like, my dad is 60 now. Like, he was like, so when we lived in Nebraska, we had a rental property. The Klan burnt down the rental property and then they put, we don't want niggers living here. So it's not like the shit it's just been over with in the 1960s once they had the acts and different things like that, the Civil Rights Act. It's always stuff like that. So, and then the other topic I wanted to touch on real quick was, like, I knew the AG wasn't shit when he was talking about how he was like, well, all these celebrities want to talk about this and this, and they don't know the facts. And then I even remember he got a whole bunch of people arrested because they were protesting outside of his house. And there was like even this old white lady, because she couldn't stand up no more, she had a seat in the lawn and she was crocheting, and they arrested her old ass. Like, shit like that. Like, there has to be a certain understanding when you're a public servant, and like, there's going to be somebody who doesn't like what you do, but that's the role that you take on. Like, I think people think they get into these roles for the wrong reasons. Like, being a police officer is not going to be pleasant. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you do it for the fact that you feel a calling for it, not because of the fact that you itching to whoop somebody ass. And that's what I think a lot of people do. Because I even, and I'm sorry I keep going on this tangent, but I remember, like, it was 4, 5, 6 years ago where it was in Mississippi, and this black man had got away from this police officer. He was running the other way, and he shot him just because of the fact that he couldn't catch him. So shit like that, like, it makes me lose faith in the system because of the fact that all these things keep happening. And like, I know it's scary for some people, you know what I mean? Because especially with little kids, like I got my son. So I mean, it's really tough to wonder what kind of world that they're going into, because it it just keeps happening and it's not getting any better. And then, like, with smartphones, we're able to see it, but now they're just acting like everything's okay. Like, oh well, this is not really their fault. So it's just tough, especially with kids.
I absolutely agree. That's one thing about it, man. Like, I don't have any children, but it's like trying to bring children into this world like this is crazy. Um, I mean, you even thinking about like that was somebody's daughter, not just she wasn't just a boy. You know what I'm saying? That was somebody's daughter. Um, it is a horrible thing for a parent to have to bury a child. Period. You know what I mean? I don't. There's no amount of money that can say I'm sorry to her family. They could be a little bit better off, but I mean, Brianna wasn't a martyr, but that's what they're trying to make her out to be. You know what I mean? Like, he messed up. He should own up to it. It's not gonna happen. They talk about to protect and to serve, but apparently it's just to protect and serve each other because it's definitely not the communities that they police. We have too many instances of these encounters, if you will, that just make it seem like, they literally just traded in they traded in the hood for the hat, bro. Like you said something about hunting. I mean, like, you got people who are traveling and doing all kinds of little crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that, man. I just it just still rubs me the wrong way because I just think about stuff like if this happened in Kentucky, where else can it happen? I mean, you still got sundown towns. They probably don't call them that, but I guarantee you there are some places that in 2020 you still don't want to be caught after dark because you will go missing and they will not come looking for you. You know what I mean? Like, I think about my goddaughter who is away at college. You know what I'm saying? Like, in one of the craziest parts of Georgia. What happens if that's her? You know what I mean? Like, it's all it's not all good and well, but until they get a dose of what it is that they understand that we go through, they still ain't gonna understand it because they're gonna try to use their privilege. Case in point, that video that's circulating right now of the lady getting arrested at the football game because she didn't have a mask on. You knew your rules, and that ain't nowhere near the same thing. But you had a woman resisting arrest. Then you had her friend who was interfering with the arrest. Both of their ass should have been tased and arrested. He doing his job, but they got a problem with it. Now get the hell out. I am sick and tired of black people being vilified. More specifically, black women, because no matter what people want to say, we make the jokes about women being free before 11 and them not having to buy, X, Y, and Z because the man gonna do it for them, whatever the case may be. Nah, bro, listen. Black women are the most underappreciated and underestimated group in America. Period. Period. Because it's hard enough to be a black man. But unless they are fetishizing black women, they are still behind while they deserve so much more. You know what I'm saying, man? I just, that could be anybody's mother, sister, daughter, cousin, friend, wife, girlfriend, whoever. Like, it makes my blood boil, not only for the generation I'm in, not only for the generation above me, but especially for the generation below us. Because they are really just starting to be able to live their lives. I'm talking about these early 20s. And here it is, you know, like you said, 1960 wasn't that long ago, bro. 1960 wasn't that long ago. We talking 60 years. My mom would have been 60 this year. I get it. And then you think about this: if our parents are that close to it, for those of us who have grandparents and great grandparents that have seen all of this stuff, how tired are they? How tired would you be if you were 70 plus years old in this country, 80 plus years in this country, 90 plus years in this country? It is a blessing to see each year that we are able to see. Every day above ground is another chance for us to be able to make conscious decisions to try and enhance our lives and to be better every single day. But that young lady will never have that opportunity again. And I feel like the people that caused her to not be able to do that ever again should suffer the ultimate penalty for what they did. Mistake or not, you got black women being locked up because they firing guns in the air to try to scare our waters, but you arresting them. Like, shit crazy, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I see it all the time, and we make the jokes. I see the women always talk about niggas ain't shit, XYZ, woo, woo, woo. But I mean, truth be told, like, it ain't all women, just like it ain't all men. I mean, but if I was a black woman, I'd be tired too.
Well, I got a lot of thoughts. My main thought is I don't know how many people actually go and try to look into how the rulings come back the way that they do, but it's always based on the technicality of how they word the questions. They don't take into account all of the evidence presented. The counselors in the beginning, they usually try to rule out as much of the evidence as possible. So how can you truly find justice in a situation when you don't start off with all the facts? I never understood that. I remember thinking about the case with Trayvon Martin. That one for me was real personal. And I remember listening to one of the jurors say that she was asked a specific question. If she thought, based on the evidence, that Zimmerman, without the shadow of a doubt, woke up that morning with the intent to kill Trayvon Martin. When you ask questions like that, that's why justice will never be served. When you really think about it, justice is that best friend that everybody has that has to sit there and ask or say certain things based on how they feel to get a specific answer back from you. And when you try to go ahead and add the layers, they tell you, no, that's not what I asked you. And that's what justice does. It doesn't care about how you feel. It doesn't care about the family. It doesn't care about nobody that's affected, or it doesn't even care about the life that was lost. It doesn't care at all. And I don't understand why so many people don't understand that it's important for us to understand the law, for us to get in there and actually make the changes necessary to get what we need done. It's not just about us fighting them. It's about us getting immense into the situation to change, to make the change. How can we say change when all we're doing is putting up signs telling them, no, we need this? No, that's not what you gotta be the change that you want to see. And we keep telling our kids to go to school and do shit about it, but ain't nobody coming out of school being able to do shit about it. And we keep coming to the same conclusion every fucking time, man. And I'm sick of that shit.
We were in a group chat the other day, and we were talking with your boy Black from 2020, and he was making it a point and saying that we have to let our community know it's okay to go to school to be more than an athlete, that you can achieve through scholarships, just by your GPA. You can be studious, you can be a scholar and still be an credit, to the Black community. And I really think we've gotten away from that. But I have seen a shift now of Black students choosing to go to Black colleges, taking their talent so where it can be benefited by our people. I think that's the first step to find value in our own education, and we also have to hold each other accountable in that, make sure they know it's okay to be studious, make sure they know it's okay to go and be a lawyer, to study law, to study, anything that would benefit our community, where it be, taking up a trade and starting a business, anything that keep money and resources within the Black community. I think one of the greatest things that came out of this recently was the fact that we got the Black owned, coalition, the Black owned mobile, and you see a lot of networking opportunity there, and that's great. But I would like to see Black money with Black money and Black education, Black, how do I put it? We have these organizations, these nonprofit organizations that are, networking with other Black nonprofit organizations. And we even created a podcast network just to keep information and tools ready for us. I think we have to get back to making that cool to hand down to the generation beneath us, like Buck said, because I feel for them. I feel for them. I absolutely feel for them. It's at a point where when I conduct myself outside of here, I already know how to behave myself. But when I see Black people, I make sure I extend them the extra courtesy. Back then we used to like mean mug each other and stuff or not speak. I make sure I speak to every Black woman I come across. I make sure I meet eyes with every gentleman I meet and I nod and speak. I make sure of that because I want to be part of the change, the difference, the repairing phase of unification that we need. Because like Ebony said, we keep sending our people to do these things and we're not getting any results. So we have to heal first ourselves. We have to change our mindset. We are the now generation. Those, I think we're called what are the millennials? I believe we're the millennials. The millennials now, we're with us being in that higher 20 to 30 range. We are about to be the leaders of the country. And so we have to kind of put our bricks in place so that the ones beneath us, Gen Z, is going to be good. Just by little acts of kindness, little statements. And I know it might be awkward, but I came across the other day a gentleman who was outside fuming, just screaming and fussing. And a lot of people were just avoiding him. And the police were called. And I get why, but I thank God the policeman that went up to him instead of antagonizing him. And this was a Black officer. Instead of antagonizing him, he was asking, "Hey, what's wrong? Tell me about your day." And I appreciate that. I really do. I really appreciate seeing people trying to de-escalate a situation. And I don't know the motive behind it. It might have been because he was Black. It might have been. But I want to reciprocate that for my people. I don't want to feel estranged just because, I hate to say this, a lot of times we catch ourselves saying, I don't know that nigga. I don't want that to be a recurring generational curse between us. I remember a time where I used to live, everybody in the neighborhood knew each other and everybody knew each other's kids. Anytime you needed something, if there was an emergency, everybody knew how to get in contact with your folks. But now it's at a place where people don't even know their neighbors. And that's the issue. People want to buy homes and buy houses and buy into these neighborhoods, but you don't even know if your neighbors are racist. There's a currently a meme going around, and I hate to use the word meme, but I'll call it a bulletin or something that's telling people in the Mobile area not to sell their homes because gentrification is under process right now. They're literally cleaning out what we used to call the hoods and stuff, and they're replacing them with newer buildings and jacking up the rent rates so the other areas near them are having to raise their rent rates and forcing Black people to move. And that's the issue. So now you're having the frustration of being pushed out of your home and outside stimuli like this causing anxiety. And that's just gas to the fire. So let me ask y'all this. What are some ways that we can personally change the way we interact with each other to embrace each other with that love that's going to generate unity? Because I'm at a point where now you are what you eat. And we talked about that on our last episode, hell. And mentally, I can't, it's bigger than me now. I can't sit here and argue with somebody about something stupid like men versus women on who cleans up better or who needs to go half on half. And we're beyond that. We're not living, Instead of everybody talking about sex before marriage, let's talk about living. Let's talk about what can we do to protect. What do you do when you see a domestic situation going on outside, including a Black woman? What are you going to do about it? How do you de-escalate? How do you intervene? Let's talk about that. So what are y'all thoughts on like some ways we can, I guess, set a standard of making a change?
I just feel like we have so many things that we can offer one another, and like you said, I felt like talking to other people, like getting to know people, like stepping outside of yourself. All right, so let me dead ass. So I think that it's sometimes where we just have to take that individualism of ourselves out of it and think of stuff better for ourselves and our community. Like, even though this white firm may be able to offer us more money, we still want to be able to make a better difference by making our own table, by passing on that, because I think a lot of times we pass on too much of ourselves and too much of our culture to other people. And so then when that happens, like we don't have shit for ourselves, because then after that it's been pimped out by everybody else and then whitewashed and done all this. Like I just feel like, man, just sticking to like, and not every Black person is for you too. So just like this AG, he's not for the people that he came from, and that's okay. But being able to vet somebody, to be able to say, okay, this person has my same mindset, my person has the same worldviews. Like we don't have to agree on everything, but just coming to a point of saying, okay, these are the key things that I think are important for the future of us, and being able to work towards it. Because to be honest with you, Jeremy, like this 2020 podcast is a really good example of that. Like we may not see eye to eye on all these things that we have, but we're here for the betterment of everybody around here. And being able to speak on those things. And so that's what really this should be about, a community wise, like being able to help somebody, being able to look at this and, I go to, like you said, go to Black owned things and spotlight those things. Just making it so that you're able to really do the best that you can, and making sure that that you set the future up, because like I don't think it's going to be fixed in our parents' generation. It may not even be fixed in ours. It may not even be fixed in this next one. But being able to set those building blocks up so that we like, okay, because I think our parents were a lot of, hey, we're just here to make it to get by, and now we have to take, okay, I'm getting by, to no, this no longer is acceptable. Yes, you may have treated my father this way. You have treated my mama this way, but you're not gonna treat me this way. Like, and being able to build on that to being, because equality is not going to be something that just happens overnight, and changing those hearts and minds of people. Either they need to get behind us or get out the way. And I just think that us having a unified front, and everybody can't be the head. Somebody got to be able to back other people up. So that's kind of been all over the place, but that's kind of how I feel.
I think it's pretty simple for me. I think that we need to try to listen without judgment. I think we need to be more open to helping each other versus thinking that somebody gonna steal your ideal or something to get on top. You don't necessarily have to always give everybody all of your good stuff or all of the great stuff, but you can always help them or guide them or even just help them find the resources. I think we need to stop being so guarded. I'm a pretty private person, but I am learning to let my friends help. I'm learning to be a little bit more open, or stop, or just, I hate that people, instead of trying to help each other, they try to look for gossip or things to talk about or things to say, oh, well, she did this or he did that, but he ain't do nothing when he was in high school. I think that we need to stop trying to bring each other down when we're actually building something, because I hear a lot of, oh my God, did you see them? They opened a new clothing line, but girl, they went to jail not too long ago. I think they need to stop putting the good and the bad in the same situation, in the same sentence. Like for instance, we can, people can say, oh, oh, Lauren, you look at her doing so well for herself. She's so married and all this stuff, but I remember she used to be a player. What? It's almost like you can't say something nice without bringing somebody down in the same sense. And I think that's a big problem in our community. Like you said about shopping Black businesses, that's a great thing. But I also think these Black businesses need to do more as far as customer service, do more as far as bettering themselves or trying to build so that we can keep coming to each other. Because in actuality, we make the population of everything almost. We invented literally almost everything in this world, like no lie, in some form or fashion. And I think with us, if we just try to monopolize on that or have that as our foundation, that we'll be better as people, but things like what happened to Breonna Taylor, or just in general, like George Floyd, just anything, I think that we need to stop trying to record and actually call somebody. And if you don't have the courage to step in, at least tell another person so maybe they got that courage to step in. I think that we need to try to step in or step up or just acknowledge it and stop trying to make everything a damn joke. I think everything has been made into a joke, a meme. Like, everything is not solidified of what it is anymore. It's always something made bigger, when it's just something as simple as they needed help, So, I think some of those things would be really good for me, as helping each other, helping us ourselves grow and to, step up to do what we need to do.
So I agree. Excuse me. I agree a lot with what Lauren said. My keyword was gonna be stop being selfish. Selfish. And when I say selfish, everybody, I'm not gonna say everybody, but I know a lot of people that think with a competition mindset. Like, I don't want to share my resources because I don't want them doing better than me. They always say they want to see you doing good, but they don't want to see you doing better than them. But that's a really dark mindset to have, because it's enough stuff out here to where we can all eat. If you don't think so, look at how many people sell Herbalife. It works. NutriBurst, whatever. There is a market for everything and everybody. You know what I'm saying? Just because you do hair don't mean that your friend that can do hair too, like, okay, y'all can have two different shops. That's fine. It's almost that kind of like, well, I'm a boss. I don't want you to be a boss, but you can come work for me. No, like we gotta get out of that mindset. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we have to. I feel like you can share resources and not. Okay, I put it like this. I feel like people that are scared to share their resources, unless it's something that they've basically paid for. You know what I'm saying? And then you can still recommend them, and they just got to pay for it. But the thing about it is, even if we got the same connections, your hustle might not be my hustle. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people doing a lot of things, but you can see who put the work in behind it and who don't. You know what I mean? You can't see somebody doing one thing and expect the same thing to work for you overnight because you don't know that person's hustle. You don't know how many meetings they taking. You don't know how many phone calls they making. You don't know how many emails they sending. Like all of that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I think that's one thing. Like we really need to rebuild. We talk about shopping black. There are a lot of black businesses that don't have the best customer service, unfortunately. But I mean, there are a lot of other places that don't have customer service too. Basically, whenever you are a when you are a business owner and you offer a product, your consumer just wants to feel like a consumer. They want to feel welcome. They want to feel like you want their business. Um, when we talk about business, I hate that, DM me for pricing. No, like, do you not have a price list? Do you have a website? Do you have a Facebook page? Anything that I can go to? Or do you charge your friends less than what you charge? No, like, if you're gonna conduct business. Period. If you choose to do something else between you and X, Y, and Z, that's between you. But it doesn't mean that you can't still have that professional approach. In addition to, and this goes hand in hand with talk about not being selfish with resources. Networking is a major thing that we don't do enough. You know what I'm saying? Period. Like that's just something that we don't do enough. And I feel like it's something that we really need to do more of. Is just being able to network, being able to uplift, being able to support because we all win. You know what I'm saying? Like we all win. I watch these like early 20 something women. I work with a few of them. I watch them on Twitter and Instagram and how they network with one another and how they share information with one another and they're always promoting each other's businesses and things of that nature and they all making money. All of them making money because they found how that network works for them. And it's almost like our age group kind of missed that bucket because we were brought up a little bit different. You know, I know so many women in their early 20s that are selling wigs and lashes. Selling bundles. I remember a 21-year-old sitting in my office and literally had made $10,000 in like, I kid you not, 6 minutes from selling hair. Or she was sitting in my office, bro. Like that's crazy to think about. But all you got to do is find your market and your niche, and you can grow. But the thing is that we have to be willing to put in the work, put in the time, put in the effort to do so. We got to stop looking at one another as competition and look at each other as allies. We got to be able to support. And if you can't support, support is a verb. You know what I'm saying? Like it is an action. It ain't necessarily got to be money. It could be you sharing a post, you sharing a video, you liking, supporting, subscribing, any of that. But we have to make it to where if we're going to grow together, we have to be able to grow together. You have to be able to put in that work. We got to get out of this click mentality, and we got to be able to just share and grow, man. So yeah.
I want to kind of hit on the fact that what a lot of you hit on with the black businesses. Um, Networking is a must, and I agree with you. Oh, you good? Um, I think we have to, for the people that don't have great customer service, we have to at least acknowledge it with them. We have to at least just let them know, hey, and I ain't saying kiss ass or nothing like that. Listen to me. Let me make that absolutely clear. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, just letting them know, hey, you know, let's open that means of communication, because it's been situations where I've been stressed out and I've come off the wrong way, or I may not put my best foot forward. And sometimes a mature person will be able to accept that. And sometimes they may need that bit of information to get their business going to the next level. Because you guys are right, there are plenty of markets here, a huge market, should I say, especially here, Mississippi, just the Gulf Coast, period. And I feel like we need to hold people accountable. And that being said, I want to bring up something you guys said, just that culture of being messy, that culture of uh, having to say something positive and weigh it down with something negative. Just congratulate the next person. I encourage us to don't gossip. I encourage us to just tell somebody you love them without any sort of service being involved, any kind of stipulation. Just let them know you love them, just period. Because we have to mend bridges now, man. We've been an island for too long, each one of us. And I feel like we need to go ahead and reach out to the next person, let them know that we got each other. It's so many times I go out and I speak to someone in the next generation and they're surprised I'm speaking to them. They're genuinely surprised. And I want that to go away. I want them to feel respected, and I want them to reciprocate that. And I think part of the reason that we have this issue is because of social media. We have a lot of people that are simply out here and they're hurting, and all they know is hurt. All they know is mess because they're not happy with life. I think we need to bring forth mental health to the forefront like today. Like, this needs to be acknowledged. And I think another thing that I want to kind of implement is being a black man and holding other men more accountable for the actions they take, young and old. Because I was listening to something, and I used to disagree with this, what I used to hear. I used to disagree with the statement that only a man could teach a boy how to be a man. I used to disagree with that all the time. But now I actually agree with it, because the psyche of a boy is going to seek answers and seek understanding and seek approval of a man in some form or fashion, period. And that can either be in a positive light or in a negative way. And I think we have to reach back out to our people and mentor each other and the generation beneath us. I saw something today that pissed me off, and I'm going to speak on it real quick, and I'm going to jump right back off of it because I don't want to shed no light on this Negro. Tory Lanez put out a statement talking about, I've been quiet, sorry to my fans, but such and such, hear my side at 9 o'clock. No, ain't shit to be said, bro. In this climate, and anybody that entertain that shit, you're part of the problem too. We cannot tolerate any sort of violence to our women, period, bro. I don't give a fuck what you was on. I don't care if she got in your face. I don't give a fuck I don't care if she was right or wrong. You don't put your hands on a woman. You do not pull out a weapon on a woman. Like, how can I expect Breonna Taylor to be respected and I can't respect Megan's plight? You see what I'm saying? Like, how does that equate? These are both women. I don't give a fuck what one's occupation is. I don't care what persona the other person has. That woman is black and she has a life. You know, this shit just, it makes me pissed off because I remember seeing the video of her limping with the shot foot and people cracking jokes about that shit. We have a woman surrendering, limping from being shot, but you mad about Breonna Taylor, but you ain't got shit to say about Meg who's still with us, and she sit there and told her story. Like, that shit infuriates me, and nobody fucking understands that. I take that back. The majority of people understand it. They just think it's cool to follow the trends. So that's all right. We're gonna make it a new trend. We're a trendsetter and everything else. Love our women. Period. 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 You see some shit go down between your homie and this girl, grab your homie, pull him to the side. Yo, work that shit out like peaceful human beings or get the fuck out. I remember there was an incident with me and my ex. And Wyatt pulled me to the side. He damn near put me in a chokehold and was like, yo, you either split or we ain't cool no more. I remember that. To this day, holding each other accountable is everything now, especially in the preservation of life now. It's a war, bro. We have no reason to be divided at this point. I won't stand for it at this point. I'm not going to ingest it. I'm not going to like any of your memes about the shit. I'm not going to. So
I did a little research because I know you do facts for 2020, right?
Right.
So yesterday, that was when Breonna Taylor's verdict came down that they weren't going to charge the people for murder. 65 years before was the time where the people who killed Emmett Till got off for murdering him.
That's fucking. And then what was it, a year ago now that not Ahmaud Arbery, the gentleman who was in his own living room, what was his name?
There's been so many, man. Like, and that's the fucked up part. Because like you can't, like, there's so many situations where, like, you know how when we were younger we were told, like, if you stay behind home you ain't never have to worry about nothing. Like, they've taken that away from us. Like, I know my folks were always like, well, if you wasn't where you were like before, and that's what I'm talking about with our generation versus maybe, you know, say for instance where our parents was like, well, if you're at home you don't have to worry about nothing.
Right.
Then now we're like, listen, I can't keep living my life based off of what everybody else is saying. If I'm not doing wrong, then I shouldn't have to worry about what's going on from here. So it's that natural progression that I think we're taking, but there's certain people and the system is set up so that, like, it's to keep us from not having that. Because you can't tell me that if I'm not doing anything wrong, now I can't, anything that happens is automatically my fault. And that's how it feels as a Black person. I don't think sometimes people of other races, especially like, you know, peach people, like, I don't think they really get that, because they're like, well, what are you doing here? Or what's happening at this point? Well, no, like, this woman was doing nothing but going to sleep, and somebody thought that they were breaking in their house. Like, it's not like there was illegal drugs. It's not like there was illegal guns. Man was just defending his life, and his girlfriend was defending his own life, doing what he needed to. And now that's under scrutiny, and that just can't be, because if it was anybody else, then there'd be issues. Because I think there was somebody, I think it was like in Minnesota, where a Black police officer shot a white woman, and he just got like 12 years in jail for that. So it's a lot of stuff, bro, that just continues to keep happening, and it's always what we could have done different. And you can't keep blaming the victim on what we should do. And it's just like, if somebody cheated and then they were like, well, tell me what I need to do to make it right. Well, no, it's up to the cheater to be able to make the thing right. It's not up to the E to be able to say, okay, this is what you need to do in the good graces. Now you need to figure that shit out yourself. And I'm just tired of having to deal with having to always explain and kind of tell everyone because I mean I have really close white friends, and some of them get it, some of them don't. We had a supervisor, Jeremy, at at DirecTV that like he put on his Facebook like, well, ask the people who were kneeling and stuff like that, and then
Yeah,
that was
fuck Marty,
4 years
by
ago.
the way.
Yeah, yeah. And then that was 4 years ago. And then now, even after everybody's come out and said like this is not what it's about, well, I think that everybody is, entitled to their own opinion. At some point, people have to just recognize that they're wrong and that their thought process is fucked up. And just be able to say, listen, hey, you know what I mean? Like I need to be able to reevaluate how I look at things. And that's for us as black men too, because I think a lot of times we take y'all women's strength as y'all got it. But just because y'all put on and sometimes y'all do have it, but in the same instance, just because you got it doesn't mean that we should leave you behind. Like, and I think a lot of times that's what ends up happening. It's like, okay, well, Lauren over here, she's strong as shit. She don't need no help. But just because she don't need no help doesn't mean that she wouldn't appreciate somebody back keeping her back. You know what I'm saying? So it's just got to be a point of, even though somebody may not need the help, it's always good to help somebody out. Hold that door. Do something to be able to make sure that that next person gets through like they need to.
Facts, bro. I feel like it's got to be something, some way we could make this a daily thing. Like, I don't care if it's a hashtag of just, even if it's something as basic as love black women or love or protect our women, I'll do it every fucking day. This shit has got to stop. And what scares me is, like I said in a couple recordings ago, I'm just now really seeing it to this degree. I heard it for so long, but I just dismissed it because I was so self-absorbed with the situation, man. Now I see it, and it's so blatant, and I'm angry, but at the same time, anger can be used a variety of ways against you. So I think it's also pertinent to understand that, yes, be angry. I ain't gonna tell you not be angry. Hey, be whatever emotion makes you feel. Embrace that. Use it accordingly, though. Be smart. Understand your location. Like I have a thing that I do with people all the time. Anytime, if you've hung out with me, whether we recorded or met up and just chilled out, I have this thing that I tell everyone: let me know when you get home. Let me know when you make it home. And if you don't, I will message you because I care. I want to know you're safe. And if that small gesture lets you know that I care for you, imagine if everyone did that. Imagine how many issues could be resolved spiritually, mentally, and actually, external when it comes to other situations. Imagine how many could be resolved before that happened if we checked in on each other like we should, like we actually love each other, man. But I wanted to wrap this up, man. I appreciate y'all coming out and talking about this. Did anybody else have anything else they wanted to kind of bring up or discuss?
I just wanted to say, and I mean, not to exactly what you just said. Um, I have to, share that sentiment. I'm the worst about it. I always try to let people know when I'm going somewhere, when I get there, and when I get home. But we talked about that earlier, and you said something about, if we actually loved each other. That's what it boils down to. We have to act like we love each other. We have to be able to protect one another. Um, especially, I mean, for the guys too, but especially for like my friends that are women, they know. I don't care if you're going 15 minutes. Yo, Travel safe. Let me know when you get to your destination. It ain't to check. I mean, it's not to be in your business, but it's more so to know that if something comes up and people are looking for you, somebody needs to know where you were, at least the last place, so they can start looking for those people. You gotta have a starting point. So once again, stop all that. Oh, they just hate me. Nah, ain't no hating. Ain't none of that going on. Like you'll figure out especially the older we get, the more I find we're choosing to express that side of ourselves. But you just have to not be afraid to share yourself. It's okay to be vulnerable within reason. It's okay to be vulnerable within reason, but you just have to make sure that you know you are guarded, you are protected, because in these days, man, you never know. People are crazy. We just gotta take care of one another and look out for one another. But that's my last 2 cents. Thank you.
All right. Well, y'all, if nobody else have any more church announcements, I appreciate y'all for coming out. I appreciate y'all for having this conversation, man, no matter how difficult it is. And that being said, y'all, be safe, be vigilant, and move smart. It's been Sir, the 2020 Podcast LLC. We out.